Elvis, Dolly, BB, Garth, Luke, Wade, McQuarrie. See them while they're still known by more than one name.
Your vacation is now playing
In Tennessee.
Plan your trip today at tnvacation.com.
Hey Mama, have you been looking for guided meditations that can really speak to this journey of motherhood? Then check out the Meditation for Moms podcast. Free guided meditations that are here to help support you throughout the entire journey of motherhood. Motherhood is no joke. It's full of incredible highs, heartbreaking lows, and everything in between. Meditation for Moms gives you guided meditations that will speak to your soul no matter what season of motherhood you're in. Listen for free today. Follow Meditation for Moms on your favorite podcast player.
This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 1767. If you want to know if someone is worth your time, use the Ted Lasso Curiosity Rule by Charlie Brown of simpleandstraightforward.substack.com. Hello, everybody, and happy Saturday. This is ORD, and I am your host and narrator, Greg Audino. Thanks so much for tuning in over the weekend when I know there are so many fun things you can or could be doing. You'll be happy you did tune in, though, because today's post from Charlie Brown is a really good one. She is a terrific writer, and in this article, she's going to be sharing a great lesson that she learned from the hit show Ted Lasso, which everyone has told me that I would identify perfectly with, but I haven't watched yet. So, I don't know, maybe this will give me the boost. Time to jump in and start optimizing your life. If you want to know if someone is worth your time, use the Ted Lasso Curiosity Rule by Charlie Brown of simpleandstraightforward.substack.com. Good TV scenes are, in their essence, well-observed reflections of real life. Like when Ted Lasso, the lovable Midwestern football coach on Apple TV's show of the same name, is challenged to a darts match with the show's baddie, Rupert, who assumes that he can't play. Rupert assumed wrong. Just before he hits the target that wins him the game, Ted comes out with this little monologue. Quote, "Guys have underestimated me my entire life, and for years I never understood why. It used to really bother me. Then one day I was driving my little boy to school, and I saw this quote by Walt Whitman. It said, 'Be curious, not judgmental.' I like that. So I get back in my car, and it hits me. All of them fellas that used to belittle me, not a single one of them were curious. They thought they had everything all figured out, so they judged everything, and they judged everyone. And I realized that their underestimating of me, who I was, had nothing to do with it. Because if they were curious, they would have asked questions. Questions like, 'Have you played a lot of darts, Ted?' Which I would have answered, 'Yes, sir, I have.'" End quote. Be curious, not judgmental. I call it the Ted Lasso rule. If you want a quick way to determine if someone is worth your time, are they curious? Do they ask you questions? If not, are they worth even getting to know? When was the last time someone really asked you a question? I spend a lot of time meeting new people, and it's amazing how few of them will ask even the most basic of questions. That would be fine if they skipped the small talk in favor of something meatier, but they don't. They skip it in favor of talking about themselves. I once asked someone what they did, in which I got a 20-minute breakdown of their very boring job. I sat next to someone at a lunch for over an hour, and they didn't even ask me so much as my name. Whereas I know who they are, where they live, who their family is, and their very deep opinions on ChatGPT, travel, and the British parliamentary system. They weren't especially boring, but I didn't want to spend any more time with them than I already had, because they didn't pass the Ted Lasso Curiosity Rule. They never asked questions. I suspect that most of these curiosity-free people underestimate me and think I'm rather dull. In fact, I know they do. Whereas in reality, it's exactly what Ted says. They're the ones missing out because they're not being curious. The best people are definitely curious, and life is too short to hang with anything but the best. the most curious people I know are the most interesting. There's my friend Paul, a journalist who has lived or traveled in nearly 100 countries, from Rwanda during the 1994 genocide to Russia, where he was arrested in St. Petersburg for wearing nothing but a dressing gown. There's my friend Vaughn, whose curiosity has led him down career paths that he could only dream about, from Google to consulting for a large pizza franchise, just because he was super curious about pizza and made a bunch in his spare time. Then there are my friends Steve Sensorensky and Yu-Ming Lee and Rocco Pendola, and my partner, Sam Dixon Brown, all of whom are intensely curious, which helps them all write banging articles. These are the people who pass the Ted Lasso curiosity rule. These are the people I want to hang out with. They're the ones who are not only leading interesting lives, but are interesting to talk to. And they're the ones that are getting the most out of their conversations, because they are simultaneously learning something new, whilst also making the other person feel good about themselves. It's literally a win-win situation for everyone involved. So, why aren't we more curious? Curiosity has been buried by ego. According to Forbes, you can only foster curiosity with a hefty dose of humility. You've got to be okay with not being the expert. And that is where many people fall down, because it's scary to admit you lack knowledge. Somehow we've associated it with weakness. Our modern world doesn't make this any easier. The likes of TikTok, the Gram, and Twitter thrive on us putting our own content into the world. Social media has made us ego monsters, massaging our evolutionary need for acceptance and dopamine. We're so used to putting ourselves at the center of our world that we forget to ask about anyone else's world. And whilst I would love to try and change the whole world's mind on being curious, I fear we're a long way down that rabbit hole. Instead, I respect my time. Your time is worth more than curiosity-free people tell you it is. Although curiosity-free people might not see it this way, when you engage with them, their actions say, "You are not worth my time. You are not important enough. You are not as interesting as me." That's bull. If you've got this far into this article, then you likely are interesting and worth talking to. That's why I stick by the Ted Lasso curiosity rule. I don't want to hang out with people who are not curious, and I suspect that you don't want to either. It's boring. It can make you feel like a pile of doo-doo, and it's no good for anyone other than perhaps the other person's ego. Thankfully, curious people still exist. They're hanging out all over the world. You probably know a few already. So the next time you meet someone, take a moment to reflect afterward and ask yourself, did they meet the Ted Lasso curiosity rule? If not, they're out. You just listened to the post titled, "If you want to know if someone is worth your time, use the Ted Lasso curiosity rule," by Charlie Brown of simpleandstraightforward.substack.com.
So, you open Google Chrome on your phone, you're hunting for a super rare first edition vinyl of a band you're obsessed with, when you're supposed to be working. But this site you tapped on seems pretty shady. And Daryl from IT just jumped up from his desk. Oh no, he's coming your way. It's a good thing built-in malware protection keeps you safe and sound. Not from Daryl, though. Sorry. There's no place like Chrome. Download Google Chrome on your phone.
Priceline presents Go to Your Happy Price. What's up? It's Kaylee Cuoco. When it comes to travel, we all have a happy place. You can see yourself already there. It's beautiful. It might be sunny and sandy for some, neon and urban for others, deserts or rainforests or hiking trails. With Priceline, you can get to your happy place for a happy price with deals you really can't find anywhere else. Like up to 60% off select hotels to Costa Rica or 5-star hotels for 2-star prices in Cabo. Go to Priceline.com and travel to your happy place for a happy price. All right, see ya. I'm off to Miami. No, actually, wow, look at that. No, I'm going to Hawaii now. Ooh, Cancun looks nice. You know what? Belize looks pretty nice this time of year. Or, Palm Springs.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
And a good post from Charlie today, who is new to ORD, but she's becoming a regular on OLD and OFD, for those who want to check out her work on those shows. That is Optimal Living Daily and Optimal Finance Daily, respectively. And curiosity is such a wonderful trait in people, isn't it? It's wonderful, but it's also overlooked, unfortunately. As Charlie alluded to, it's really easy to be blind to curiosity when, we get so amped up about talking about ourselves. We often forget how nice it can be to both receive and give questions. But at the same time, I encourage anyone listening today to not be judgmental of what appears to be a lack of curiosity. There are many reasons that one might not be asking questions. Perhaps they're in a rush. Perhaps it's a very bad day for them. Perhaps they really struggle with shyness and socializing, in a way that's mindful of others when they feel so unsafe themselves. Therefore, in an effort to sharpen one's own curiosity, so you and your curiosity, we might remain curious regardless of what we're receiving from the other person, and make that curiosity separate from whether or not we want to keep those other people in our lives. So remaining curious and non-judgmental towards people we perceive to be not curious, even if that means not making time to see them or actually building relationships with them. Contemplate that this weekend, folks, should you meet some new people as you go out and about with the weather getting quite nice now. I'll leave it there for now, but I really appreciate you being here as always. I look forward to sharing more of Charlie's work with you, and I'll talk with you again tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.